Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of Tornado Talk. We are here every Monday night at Dugan's Pub, where we take an inside look into Brevard College athletics. Have an exciting show on tap tonight. We'll talk some men's soccer, some cycling, some football, and we'll be able to share with you all sorts of news. It was a big day across the campus at Brevard College in terms of some athletics news breaking. Before we get started with all that, I want to thank our sponsors, Arby's, Jets Pizza, Holiday Inn Express, Hampton Inn, Ingalls, Mission Sports Medicine, Comporium, Pepsi, and the home of Tornado Talk, Dugan's Pub. Well, the football team received some news this afternoon. The Brevard College Tornadoes football team has been selected to play in a postseason bowl game for the first time in program history. The Tornadoes will head to the ECAC Scotty Whitelaw Bowl. That is in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where they will face off against the host, Carnegie Mellon. Brevard and Carnegie Mellon, 2 of 8 teams selected to a total of 4 ECAC Division III bowl games. And it'll be the first ever matchup between these two institutions. And the Tornadoes certainly have earned their spot into that ECAC bowl game after a 7-2 overall record, a 5-2 record in USA South Conference play following a blowout win this past weekend at Greensboro College. So congratulations to head coach Bill Kyatt, the entire Brevard College football coaching staff, along with those student athletes. They will be headed to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania this weekend for a ECAC bowl game. We'll tell you more about that and get into that in depth when we have head coach Bill Kyatt along with some of those football student athletes on the show a little later. Also, some Football USA South Player of the Week awards handed out this afternoon. Brandon Norris, the Special Teams Player of the Week, and Gerald Hines, the exciting Tornado freshman Offensive Rookie of the Week. So congratulations to those two, Brandon Norris and Gerald Hines, winning USA South Conference Player of the Week. Other updates since we saw you last. We'll be talking some cycling and some cyclocross later in the show. Some big results at Charlotte. Hannah Arnsman finishes first in Women's Pro 1-2-3 cyclocross. Women's 3 and 4, Emma Schwab, a first-place finish. Michaela Gray, fourth place. And then Men's Pro 1 and 2, Tyler Clark first, Carson Beckett second, Tyler Miranda sixth, and Dalton Collins eighth. A big weekend for cyclocross and the cycling program this weekend with the NCCX Grand Prix. That's at Jackson Park in Hendersonville, North Carolina. So a cool opportunity for folks to check out cyclocross right here in our backyard in Hendersonville. Women's basketball opened its season this past Tuesday as a win over Toccoa Falls. Deja Riddick, 22 points. Krista Davis, 10 rebounds. And Taryn Ledford, 11 points. A tough loss in the road opener at Barry last Thursday, and then a loss on Sunday to Methodist. In that Methodist defeat, Deja Riddick, 16 rebounds, 11 on the offensive end. Krista Davis, 18 points. Men's basketball opened its season a tight 76-73 loss to Toccoa Falls. Levi Lamb led all players with 22 points. 4 Tornadoes in double figures. Damari Hopper with 11. Gaddafi Turner and Cannon Lamb each with 10. And then a loss to Pensacola Christian on Friday night. Damari Hopper with 14. Lamb with 23. Hayden Castle with 10. And then a exhibition. Great to see the Tornadoes up at the Kimmel Arena facing off against UNC Asheville. That game was locally televised and also on ESPN+, so a big opportunity for the Tornadoes there. Tornadoes basketball will be back in action on Tuesday at the Boschmer Gymnasium. Women's at 5:30, men's at 7:30, so a women's-men's doubleheader versus Bob Jones Tuesday at the Boschmer Gymnasium. We mentioned football, a 42-3 win over Greensboro College. Big day for Dalton Cole. Blake Taylor with a big touchdown score. He led the receivers with 88 receiving yards. Brandon Norris, 2 passes for 55 yards. More defensive numbers just continuing to roll in as the Tornadoes continue to hold their opponents without a touchdown in the month of November. And that brings us to men's soccer. And looking forward to recapping what was a very compelling and very successful season for Brevard College men's soccer. And joined once again now by head coach El Dana. Coach, thanks for joining the program.
Thanks for having me.
Well, Coach, welcome back to Brevard, North Carolina. After a trip to Chester, Pennsylvania, the team qualified for the ECAC Men's Soccer Championships, played a school called Widener, who was the host of the game up in Chester, Pennsylvania, a tough 1-0 defeat. If we can start there for folks who might not had a chance to watch the broadcast on Saturday, if you can kind of explain, what happened that game.
Yeah, I mean, when they do the seedings, it's hard for them to compare institutions. So the different ways that they chose, they put us as two and them as three. But we got the opportunity to watch the other two teams play, and we felt our game was the final. So might as well have been 1 and 2. But strong team, good team. A little different than the style that we play, a little more direct. But it was a good game. I think the first half they actually had the better part of the play. The second half, it was pretty much us. But that's the way soccer goes. Sometimes we actually tied the first half and ended up losing the second.
Yeah, a tough 1-0 defeat, and as you mentioned, Tornadoes really controlling the action in that second half. Well, I know it was disappointing for the players, but a long trip back home, and now that the dust has settled a little bit. Big picture, looking back at this year, and also what these student athletes were able to accomplish. Overall thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, we don't believe in skipping steps, right? So you got to go over certain hurdles before you get to the big things. Not that this was not big; it was huge, but it was a huge step towards what we want. We want to be in the NCAA tournament. We want to win the conference, which this year we could have competed for it, but we positioned ourselves well. We finished second in the West, but we were not eligible for the tournament, which we will next year. But this sets the tone because the biggest thing I've always told my players that it's not winning the tournament, it's making to the tournament. And now they did. They made it, and you taste it, and you want it back. Now you kind of realize all the little lessons, all the little things that need to fall in place for you to make it, and now you don't need to. Hopefully, you don't need to repeat them next year.
Now, this team had a good number of returners from the past season, including two seniors who we're going to speak to a little later, but also a bunch of newcomers, many of whom came from all over the globe, and they quickly acclimated to Brevard College and Brevard College soccer. Now that the season, is complete, can you talk about that, the newcomers' adjustment to being here at Brevard College?
Or it's the testament to these seniors, the two that you're going to talk to and the other ones, because they made those guys feel at home. And that's so important, and they were patient and they were, because freshmen, I don't care how experienced you are coming into college, it's a different level. As it will be, some of these guys have aspirations to try out to the pros. You go into a higher league, so everything is faster and less margin of error. But these guys were patient with them. And you got to remember, early in the year, we had a rocky start. It was a tough schedule to start with, anyways. Had I done that schedule, I wouldn't have done it that way. But all of those things made us so much better at the end. So it was important the way that these young guys were well received, because towards the end they were playing like seasoned players.
End the season with a 500 record, but the regular season a 7-6-3 record. First time in the school's NCAA era history that the teams had a winning record. So congratulations on
Thanks.
that. And we mentioned the seniors: Matthew Brevin, Eric Lenhart, Chavi Marijuena, Mateos Masukawa, Jackson Riddle, Alex Tenhai, and goalkeeper Patrick Hall. Would like to just dwell on that a little more, because it is an exceptional class.
Oh, yeah.
These guys have weathered a lot to get to this point. Their careers capped off by this trip to the ECAC championship, which was certainly gratifying. But can you go even further on that group of 7 seniors and just, how exceptional they are?
Yeah, I mean, even before I say anything, because when you said we finished 500, and sometimes people get the wrong idea, because you can easily schedule a schedule that you're going to win more than you're going to lose, but that's not going to pay off at the end. So we played a strong schedule, so much so that for you to qualify to the ECAC, you need to have a strength of schedule. But flipping the page here, the seniors, I sincerely mean this, because I could play kind of politics right now. I really wish I had him longer. You know, oftentimes for a new coach, you come in and there's a little bit of a friction. Hey, you know, you're different than the previous guy. That's not what I signed up for. Not these guys, you know, not these guys. And they adjusted because it was a change for them too. But they made me feel at home. They were wonderful leaders. I mean, all of them. They were captains, yes, but all of them were leaders. And we actually had this team that I let them choose two captains, and the third one I chose every week. And more often than not, the seniors were the choice, and they were awesome, you know. So it's nice when it all comes together. They're not only good people, good leaders, and good students, but they're good players, great players. And because you want that, you want as the senior season is coming, you want these guys on the field, you want them right pitching in and feeling that they're really, and they were, all of them were very very important.
Outstanding coach. Well, do want to mention two of them in particular. Patrick Hall, he's all over the record books as a Brevard College goalkeeper, and also Mateus Masukawa, who broke some school records as well in both points and goals scored. Those two will always be in the record books, even if their records get broken. The records are usually listed like 1 through 10, so they'll be up there. Can you touch on those two now that they've completed their
Yeah,
careers?
no, sure. I mean, Patrick is the best keeper in the league. There's no doubt. I mean, here we are coming back from Philly, and the coach told me, "Wow, I haven't seen a keeper like that." So um, just poised and calm and makes the big saves. And sometimes keepers give a few easy goals and then they make a great save. No, no, no. He always is like you can count on him, right? So yeah, we'll miss him a lot. But Mateus actually is a Brazilian, but is also a different kind of Brazilian, right? He's got a different kind of background, so he incorporates a lot of different cultures. That his style of play is very unique, and I'll miss that. So he was one of the hardest working guys on the pitch, but also very skilled, finished very well, and was a calming presence. He never opened his mouth, but was always there, just being an example.
And two more seniors who are going to be on the show shortly, Eric Lenhart and Jackson Riddle, part of a very stout defense that, gave a lot of opposing offenses headaches. Can you talk a little bit about those two and maybe the defense as a whole?
Yeah, no, the defense, we set the goals for the year, right? And our offense came a little short, the truth being said, but our defense surpassed expectations, and that's what kept us in every game this year. And two of the main reasons are right there coming up to talk to you. And these guys, they're physical, but they're also technical, which is difficult to find that, and they're leaders from the back. Again, they like talk and control positioning and people staying in shape and whatnot. But they're competitors. That's the biggest thing I'm going to miss the most is how competitive they are. There's no giving up with these guys, and I knew there were so many times I would push them up a little bit and we're behind whatever. I knew I could count on them giving us an extra edge because these guys really want to win.
Very good, Coach. Well, before I let you go, do want to give you the opportunity, perhaps one final message to our, fan base and, our Brevard College community. Perhaps, a thought of congratulations or, gratitude as far as this year, but also, an idea of what's coming next for men's soccer at Brevard College.
No, definitely to say thanks. I thought the support, the people that came out and watched us, and don't ever take for granted the little things, right? I mean, the little messages sometimes to pick you back up when you lose a game, or sometimes to congratulate you, but to us and the kids, and also the little things that these people did, from bringing little goodie bags at times, and all the little things that make this into a family. So thanks for that, but also you ain't seen nothing. Hopefully, a lot great things ahead of us, which is the foundation these guys have laid, and the recruiting is going great, which is easy to sell a winner and easy to sell such great settings that we have, and all the changes in the stadium is such exciting time. But hopefully these people can stay behind with us because I think we're going to have great things to come.
Outstanding. Yes, indeed. The future is bright for Brevard College men's soccer. Coach, congratulations on a great year and a trip to the ECAC championships. We look forward to talking to a couple of your graduating seniors next.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thanks, Coach. All right, that was Coach L. Dana coming off that ECAC men's soccer championship appearance for the Tornadoes up in Chester, Pennsylvania. And now two of the student athletes who made that trip and are now back and, for the most part, well rested, following the trip to Chester, Pennsylvania. Jackson Riddle, gentlemen, thanks for joining the program.
Thanks, Phil.
Thank you.
Well, this is a visual medium that we're on, Facebook Live.
Okay.
And I can't help but notice there's a different shade of blonde with the two of yours hair, and I think some of your teammates as well. Can you guys tell the story of what's going on with the hair color?
Yeah, so Jackson actually started it, and we were talking about at the beginning of the season, like if we make it to the ECAC, we're going to do something big, and we decided, we're starting to make it. Maybe we're going to get the chance to go in, and Jackson dyed his hair as, the first.
Yeah, I did it even before Halloween, before we knew that we were going, partly because I had faith that we were going to make it, and I don't know, just to kind of mix it up a little bit, keep things fresh with the guys, and a lot of the team joined in and did it too.
Yeah, I would imagine it's the sort of thing that keeps guys loose too, because you guys are, a couple of the seniors, but a lot of young players who haven't made a trip like this, to the ECAC championship. So great idea, and I'm glad you guys were able to execute it. Now, if we can think back to last week a little bit, I'd like to go back to the day that the ECAC was announced.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to be in that classroom with you guys, and we kept on hitting refresh on the internet browser, and eventually the news came. Can you guys talk about that afternoon, the anticipation, and also the news that your season was going to continue with the ACAC championships?
Yeah, I think everybody all day, that's all we could really think about. We were just hitting refresh on the computer. Seemed like we were waiting in there for an hour trying to find out if we were going to go. I think everybody thought that we were, but we were ready to see who we were going to play and where we were headed. And then it finally happened.
Yeah, I think for us seniors, this was the first time we got to participate in the postseason tournament, except for my freshman year. So it was really just a great experience to know that we were going to continue our season and be able to play together and competing for a trophy.
Yeah, and then the trip up to Chester, Pennsylvania. Now, can't help but notice the temperature up there.
Oh, yeah.
It was cold. It was getting down into the 30s, by the time that game ended on Saturday. Can you guys talk a little bit of how you may be prepared for, close to freezing temperatures?
Yeah, well, I think this last week, Brevard kind of helped us prepare for that. It was pretty cold here in Brevard, and so we had some pretty late evenings of training where we train at 6 or 4, something in the evening where we knew the temperatures were going to be a little bit lower. And if it wasn't too extreme of a temperature, then we just kept going and kind of pushed through it just to be prepared for the cold.
Yeah, ever since the time changed, and the sun going down earlier, it's been getting colder at training a lot sooner. And like Eric said, there were a couple days last week where it was really cold. We even cut training short a couple times because it was so chilly. And then the night before the game, we were able to get out there and practice, and I think everybody was pretty acclimated, pretty used to it.
Now, Eric, a wilderness leadership major known as the Willie program around Brevard College, and Jackson, you're a Borg major, business and organizational leadership.
Acronyms.
Another acronym here at Brevard College, but two very popular and successful majors here on campus. Can each of you tell a little more about your studies and maybe your career aspirations once you graduate?
For sure. So I'm pretty excited actually to graduate and be into the big world kind of and doing my degree for Willie. And so I got a couple opportunities lined up in this summer working for an internship to finish my education at Brevard and come back for a 5-minute presentation and go from there. I'm just really excited to work for kind of the outdoor education industry, and I want to further my education or further my schooling to graduate school and then possibly do a teaching or something along those lines.
Yeah, and a shout out to nearby Camp Pinnacle, where I ran
Exactly.
into you this summer, Eric. My nephew and niece, proud alums of the
Yeah.
camp. And best of luck, Eric, as you continue that career path. And
Thank you.
how about yourself, Jackson?
I'll also be graduating with an environmental studies minor, and I'm really hoping to go to grad school and pursue a career in kind of the environmental management side of the business world, focusing on sustainable enterprise and really helping a lot of companies go green and limit their waste to try to go into this new age of capitalism, really.
I'd imagine there's a lot of opportunity in that sector, and there'll be more and more demand as time ticks forward. Now, guys, you're 2 of 7 seniors in this senior class, and you guys are a tight group.
For sure.
Kind of saved the best for last as far as this season and the successes and going to postseason play. But can you reflect a little bit as far as that senior class goes, and maybe think back to senior day and how that went, but also how you're going to probably miss these guys?
Man, I don't even want to think about how much I'm going to miss everybody. It's hard to even wrap our minds around that we've played our last game together. But, man, the bond that we formed over these 3 or 4 years, depending on who we've been with, it's something that we're going to have forever, and that I'll cherish all of these memories forever. It was great to finally have a coach that was really a steadying force with Coach L. We've kind of gone through some turbulent times with coaches, changing positions, and we were even going to have a new coach in the spring, and he had to leave before Coach L came in, and luckily we got a great one, and Brevard's got a great one going into the future as well.
Yeah, I think our changes really say it, just like how much from freshman year to senior year, how much the program changed and how much we've changed as seniors just really brought us together as a close-knit group. And just being able to play this last season with them. At the beginning of the season, I actually was not thinking about playing, and then like they all kind of came and told me like, hey, we need to play. And so just that support and just that like camaraderie is really great from them.
Now, if you had the opportunity to spend a little time with a recruit, a high school student who knew nothing about Brevard and, somehow found his way here and was considering playing men's soccer at Brevard College, what would be some of the things you would tell them as far as, why it makes sense to become a Tornado?
I think I'd really talk about just the community we have here at Brevard, apart from the soccer, but then also with the soccer, just with such a small school that you really get to know everyone really well and all your teachers really well. And so if that's something that you're interested in, then definitely come here because everyone supports you. And then with that, soccer kind of accents that even more. Just being able to be like, come here, be on a team, already have a good amount of friends that you can get to know really well and practice with them every day and do a sport that you love.
Yeah, I mean, going off what Eric said, the small school environment, if that's what you're interested in, this is the place to be. Everyone's going to support you in your athletics and your academia. All of the teachers always know what's happening with the sports. They're always asking questions, and everyone really cares, just like Eric was saying.
Well, before I let you go, I always enjoy giving student athletes the following opportunity, and since you guys have, wrapping up your men's soccer career, if you want to think back as far as you want to, but give you the chance to give a shout out or a thank you to anybody who may have helped you along the way.
Yeah, I would like to thank my Coach Shug, my first coach I had here. He was awesome. Really brought me like into Brevard and kind of taught me the ropes. And then also Coach L, just for like making this last season one of the best I've had. And all the seniors and everyone who came out to support us and our home games. I think we only lost one home game this year, and it was because of the fans and just like the environment around us.
Yeah, I mean, the community around us really was huge. The support that they gave us at every home game was incredible. Only losing one match at home the entire year, that's great. Like Eric said, Coach Shug to start off with, Coach Andrew, who was here 2 of the years. I don't know what I would have done without him coaching me my first year here on the reserves. Coach Brad setting us up last spring, getting everybody in the mindset that we could do something special and instilling the confidence in us that Coach L just grabbed and ran with. Everybody who was coming back they were ready to perform, and we did something special here this year, something that hadn't been done.
Outstanding, fellas. Well, I sure enjoyed, watching you guys lock down the defense. I'm a former defender myself, so I appreciate that work back there. And you guys brought a lot of great memories and highlights, throughout the season. Best of luck in your future endeavors as you head towards graduation and then
Thank you.
embarking on your careers. And thanks again for representing Brevard College.
Thank you.
All right. Jackson Riddle and Eric Lenhart coming off that ECAC championships. It's great to have them here at Dugan's Pub on Tornado Talk and recapping that successful men's soccer season and a great career for those two, along with the entire senior class, 7 seniors in total for Brevard College men's soccer. And we switch gears now as happy to be joined once again by our cycling coaching staff, head coach Brad Purley, assistant coach Cypress Gorey. Coaches, thanks for joining the program.
Yeah, thanks for having us again.
Well, last time we talked, we were talking mountain biking, coming off those national championships. Season has shifted. We're in the next discipline, well into the cyclocross schedule. A successful weekend this past weekend in Charlotte, then a big home race coming up in Hendersonville this weekend. Can you let folks know kind of how the cyclocross season's going thus far?
Yeah, it's been great. It was a pretty easy transition coming off of mountain bike season, and everybody was really excited to keep on racing, and we've had a really solid crew at all of the races, and just judging by this last weekend as well, we've had some great results, and people have been kind of coming up throughout the year so far. It's kind of hard to go fitness-wise straight from mountain biking into cyclocross, so a lot of them ended up taking a little bit of a break, and they're kind of building up throughout the cyclocross season, so those results are starting to show a little bit more, and it's all the way through December that they're going, so they still have some time to work, but it's been great so far.
Well, this past weekend, certainly, as you mentioned, all sorts of big results. Hannah Arnsman, a first-place finish in Women's Pro 1, 2, 3. Emma Schwab, first place in Women's 3 and 4. Tyler Clark and Carson Beckett, first and second in Men's Pro. We'll talk to them a little later. For those who might not be familiar with the categories in cyclocross, can you kind of explain what I just rattled off there as far as these pro categories and these numbers?
Yeah, so for the cross season this year in particular, we're going a little bit different route than what we've done in the past. In the past, we've stuck to just solely the collegiate-only events, collegiate-only weekends, and instead this time what we're doing is we're going to the regional events, which is not just collegiate. So the overall fields and races are bigger, there's more competition, and thus it's better training and better preparation for nationals, which is ultimately our goal, of course. So the categories are split up essentially from, like you mentioned, pro is category, the higher categories, and then all the way down to more of a beginner category. So that way at these events, unlike collegiate, any person can come and race their bike that day, and of course as you get more experience and as you do more of these events, you work your way up through the categories. And the majority of our students that are going to be racing at nationals, all the ones going to nationals are racing, in that elite professional category at these events. But it's neat because, like Cypress mentioned, you can really see, and we can really work on the depth of our program throughout these events too, because we can have students that may have never raced cyclocross before, and we start them in more of a beginner category, and we see them upgrade throughout the season and throughout the year, and ultimately throughout their 4 years here. It helps us help continue the development really in the cyclocross side of things for sure.
And Cypress, you mentioned sort of the transition from mountain biking to cyclocross. Can you talk on a physical level what that looks like?
So in the mountain bike season, a lot of the guys are racing an hour and a half to 2 hour long races for kind of that cross country length, and they'll do some short tracks too, which are shorter. So cyclocross is kind of more of a mixture of those two disciplines because it has a lot of shorter laps, but it's still close to an hour long. So to have that kind of hour long power is a little bit of a different as far as training. There's a lot of more like shorter high-end efforts because of just the nature of the courses are very short, punchy laps that kind of stays, a little tighter as far as the racing goes. and it's just a different kind of aspect in that way. So.
Now, a big opportunity for the Brevard College community and locals here in Transylvania County and this whole Western North Carolina region to check out cyclocross in person this coming weekend, the North Carolina Grand Prix and at Jackson Park in Hendersonville, North Carolina. I know this event's been going on for a few years now, and it's a great opportunity for fans. Coaches, can you tell us even more?
Yeah, so like you said, I don't even know, honestly, how long this particular event has been going on in Jackson Park. It's been a while. I know the series itself has been around for over 20 years now, but it's been 3 or 4 years now, I believe, that we've been hosting our collegiate events in conjunction with that, which works really well because the promoter of that is also a team sponsor for our collegiate team here, so we have their logo on our team trailer and all that, so it's neat to really tie in different areas of the community, the cycling community, but on this side of the state, essentially, you have the Asheville group kind of up by Boone, we have Brevard, of course, Hendersonville, and they all congregate for this event, and it pulls in, for the professional fields, it pulls in folks from all over the country, honestly, because they're chasing their international racing points. It has a really good field. Plus, we have collegiate racing, so it's really an exciting opportunity for our students to be able to, the environment is like, it's a large race, which is different from a lot of our conference races they're smaller because it's just the collegiate racers. So having it be a part of one larger event, 2 days, big weekend festival atmosphere, they have food trucks, they have it's a fun event to be around. So yeah, it's a perfect opportunity for folks to come out and see these students perform and do what they do, basically, because usually this year is a perfect example. Usually we're very far away. We're going to Washington for nationals. We just came back from the West Coast for mountain bike nationals, so it's a little bit tough, I think, for folks and supporters and sponsors to see them a lot of times. And this is a great chance for that because it's not in town necessarily, but it's really close, and it's definitely worth the trip out there. And like I said, there's action all day. You can stand in one spot and see 80% of the entire course. So it's very, very spectator friendly. Usually some fun weather, some fun crashes, and tight elbow-to-elbow racing. And yeah, it's a blast for sure. The students love it. We enjoy it, and it's nice too. They have a chance to step in a little bit here to a promoting role where we're going over for Thursday and Friday to help set things up. They're there until past dark on Sunday, breaking it all down, and it's neat because they have much more of a sense of ownership in this event than they do anything else. Yeah, it's nice.
And competitively speaking, it's a key weekend for the Tornadoes to prepare for those national championships, which you mentioned in Tacoma, Washington. Can you kind of reiterate how important that is and how all roads lead to the nationals?
Yeah, that's absolutely our philosophy. I mean, Cypress and I are in our program historically, too, really, where nationals is the priority, and that's what students get the most excited about. That's what we're the most passionate about. So what that means is everything leading up to that in all of these, each of our 3 seasons is focused solely on that goal. So like you said, this is another great stepping stone in the training, in sort of all the boxes you're trying to check off when you're trying to prepare. We're 3 weeks away from nationals right now, so it's getting pretty close ultimately. Yeah, so it's another opportunity for them to really try to get in a great quality weekend and get the experience. And like Cypress mentioned, there's all sorts of elements that go into the transition from the mountain bike game to the cyclocross game, and it's a lot of just getting comfortable with that different event. It's still bike racing, but it's really different too. So it's interesting. Everything about it is a different approach. So yeah, it'll be a good indication, hopefully, of continuing progress to get ready for Washington.
Well, folks, want to invite you out to Jackson Park this Saturday and Sunday. Literally racing all day long. You can stop on by just for a few hours if that's all you can pull off, or you can settle in for the whole day. And like you mentioned, a very spectator-friendly discipline of cycling, and a great chance to see these Brevard College student athletes. We're going to have a couple of them on here right now to talk even further. We've got Carson and Tyler Clark in the house, correct?
Mm-hmm. Correct. Yep.
Well, before we have them on, can you guys just talk about these two a little bit and just how special they are?
They've been racing incredibly this year. Yeah, it's been really fun to watch at the races, and not just at the conference level, but even at the national level. They've been really putting in some impressive results as we saw at Mountain Bike Nationals, and then, kind of through their own careers through kind of the spring and summer as well. They've been racing at a high level. So having both of them on the program this year has been, kind of priceless for us. So it's been exciting to see.
Nice. Well, looking forward to catching up. One of them, the individual national championship holder in the Omnium. Always great to have a national champ in the house, and also Carson, great leadership as a senior this season as well. Well, guys, good luck this weekend, putting on that promoter cap also. Looking forward to the action this weekend at Jackson Park, and really invite folks to come on out and check out cyclocross. Thanks for joining
Absolutely.
the program.
Great. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, Phil.
Head coach Brad Purley and assistant coach Cypress Gorey as preparations continue for the North Carolina Grand Prix, a cyclocross event that will take place just down the road at Jackson Park in Hendersonville, North Carolina. As we're joined now by two real veterans of Tornado Talk by this point, but now talking to them with the discipline of cyclocross type of mind. Tyler Clark, Carson Beckett, thanks for joining the show, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, part of the reason we wanted to have you on is to promote this weekend's race. It's an event in nearby Hendersonville, North Carolina, Jackson Park. You guys raced in it last year as well, as Carson, I'd imagine, for a few years running for you. And that event's going to take place, and it's a chance for fans to come out and not only check out members of the Brevard College cycling team, but also learn about the sport of cyclocross. So in a nutshell, if you had 1 minute to spend with a fan and you were trying to convince them to come on out to Jackson Park, what would you tell them?
Gotta go for this.
Yeah, so basically it's a discipline of cycling where it's traditionally in a park, so this is nothing new being in Jackson Park, but what they do is they utilize the park and make features out there, whether it's staircases or there's often like 2x4s or 2x8s or whatever, and they set those in the ground, and so they create these features where you have to get on and off your bike. But basically there's a super short lap. It'll have a bunch of random features. It could be really muddy, could be some stairs, and to the best of your ability, you guys, it's a mass start race, and you race against each other, and you got to be good at a lot of different things. So it's a pretty unique sport. It's not my primary discipline, but like it's a blast to take part of.
Anything to add there, Tyler?
No, he pretty much got it all. It'll be exciting for sure. Last year it snowed, so that made it really interesting. So we'll see what this year brings.
Yeah, it looks like a little more temperate weather this time around. Well, you two had a good weekend in Charlotte preparing for this event. Tyler, a first-place finish. Carson, second in men's pro. And third place, and it's an interesting podium shot because there's Brevard College all over the place, is one of your coaches, Cypress Gorey. Can you guys talk about that Charlotte race and maybe, how much fun it was to have, 1, 2, 3 Brevard finish?
Yeah, so it was kind of an interesting race this weekend. It was kind of like in an open field, and it rained just enough to make it slow and sloggy the whole time, so that made it really hard, like a little harder than normal. And we had I feel like a bigger crew than we normally do for that race this weekend. Brad and Cypress obviously joined us, and that was pretty awesome. So that made it, like, we took up like half the field, so that made it really sweet.
Yeah, it was like he said, it rained enough the few days prior that it wasn't really muddy. It was just the ground was soft pretty much. So it required, like, you never knew where the best part of the track was to ride. You were just trying new stuff the whole time. But it was a fun course, and they did a good job with it. And it was cool to be able to race up front with, like 6, 7, 8 people, our teammates. And I was just trying to hang on to Tyler pretty much the whole race and learn all I could. He's in phenomenal shape and super talented at cross. So it's it was a blast this weekend. We should be pretty good as a team headed into Hendersonville.
Now, Tyler, earlier this season you competed in the Pan American Championships up in your home country of Canada. Also, Hannah Arnsman made the trip up there along with Brevard College alum Allison Arnsman, Hannah's sister. Can you talk a little bit about that experience?
Yeah, so that was pretty cool. I've done that race at that venue for 5 or 6 years now. So the past few years they've had Pan Am's there, which brings in all the U.S. and Canada. So that makes it really cool having all the top guys in both those countries there. So made it kind of a special event for sure, racing in front of the home crowd.
And Carson, we talked to your coaches about the idea that all these races lead up to the national championships, the collegiate national championships. You guys are going to take another long trip to Tacoma, Washington in a couple weeks. And for you, Carson, it's going to be, just like the mountain bike championships, another swan song your senior year. Can you talk about that, just how big nationals are for the Tornadoes?
It is huge. We always, unfortunately, have to take a smaller crew than we want because we always end up traveling far. But, the crew we take, we're definitely confident in. And we've been to quite a few different types of locations and raced in everything from frozen and super dry tracks to so muddy you don't even need a bike to race it. You just end up running. So, but yeah, like you said, everything in the season builds up. Everything from physical fitness wise, that we're building on that every race, but we're also building like our skill sets and figuring, okay, what do I need to work on for this race, or am I good at running upstairs or not? So yeah, all that'll build up, and I'm confident in the crew we have, and I think we should have a pretty good showing. Yeah.
Yeah, Tyler, a deep group this year, no doubt about it. The women's side has bulked up quite a bit as far as some of the talent there, and you're feeling good heading towards nationals. That you're part of that team relay national championship last year, but I know you guys as a team are looking for a team national championship.
Yeah, so that should be interesting. Having the bigger women's field this year for us definitely helps out a lot. We've only, last year we only had 3 girls, where this year we're up a couple there, so that should make kind of the team overall, but we might be a bit more competitive this year, so that should be awesome.
All right, gentlemen. Well, it's going to be exciting to continue to follow you guys through this cyclocross season. Fans, come on out this weekend. North Carolina Grand Prix at Jackson Park in Hendersonville, North Carolina. Let you guys put on your promoter hat one last time. Any final words to try to get folks out there on Saturday or Sunday?
Yeah, we'll come out and watch, cheer us all on, 'cause we'll be in races throughout the whole day, both days of the weekend, so there'll be plenty of time to watch, cheer on some fellow Brevard riders.
Yeah, bring some rain boots and some coffee, and it's a super fun show. It's easy to watch and it's pretty unique. So.
Yeah, you can just kind of settle in there and take in all the action. It's easy from a spectator's standpoint.
Yeah, sure.
Well, guys, good luck this weekend
right.
and through the rest of the cyclocross season. Thanks for
Thank
joining
you.
the show.
Thanks, Bunch.
Always great to see you guys.
Appreciate it.
All right, Tyler Clark and Carson Beckett as continue to preview that North Carolina Grand Prix, a big weekend for the Brevard College cyclocross team. Head on down to Jackson Park in Hendersonville, North Carolina. All day Saturday, all day Sunday, you'll be able to see those student athletes in action along with all sorts of levels and ages at that cyclocross North Carolina Grand Prix. And as we look forward to having this next guest, we had some major news today on the campus of Brevard College as we're joined by head coach Bill Kyatt. Coach, thanks for joining the show.
Appreciate you having me, Phil.
Well, Coach, this afternoon, a little after 12 noon Eastern time, via a Facebook Live program, the ECAC Bowl games were announced, and the Tornadoes earned a spot in a bowl game, the Division III Scotty Whitelaw Bowl versus host Carnegie Mellon University. That'll be in Pittsburgh this Saturday. Major news, first time the Tornadoes have ever gone to a bowl game like this. Can we start there? The significance of the Brevard College Tornadoes earning a spot in a bowl game.
Well, you would think that with a mother that is a published poet and playwright and a father that was English major at Tulane, I could have some very deep vocabulary to describe the feeling. But the best I can do is just really give you an honest and pure response, and that is just the joy in my heart for these kids who wanted something so much, and they listened to the instructions given by the coaching staff to get them to where they wanted to be, and it was their maximum effort, their drive, their determination, along with the support from the athletic community at Brevard College, the support from Brevard College, and just the overall environment that has been in place during this season that allowed these guys to achieve their goal, which was to reach a bowl game.
Now, if we could let folks behind the curtain just a little bit, Coach, at roughly 4 p.m. this afternoon, the team gathered together at the Porter Center on the campus of Brevard College, and yourself, along with the entire football coaching staff, had a special message for the student athletes before practice. Can you let folks know what happened there in the 4 o'clock hour?
Well, I know that many have asked why we didn't have a formal get-together during the announcement at noon. And I thought that after such a fantastic season, we're at Greensboro, and it was kind of odd how we closed the game with the post-game speech because we were in limbo. Was that really the end of the season? Was there more? It was kind of odd. And I didn't want these young men to have such an outstanding season only to have it our last time together almost demoralized that they didn't make a bowl, because I had no way of knowing if we were in or not, regardless of looking at records and research and trying to figure out. And I just didn't want it to end in that fashion. So that's why I had the coaching staff in one spot, and then the kids were kind of spread out. Some were at lunch, and some were, just coming out of class, some were in their dorm. So everybody's kind of spread out just to let everyone get the message kind of on their own. But they knew all along that we were meeting at 4 o'clock. Once we got into that 4 o'clock meeting, I did have all my coaches up front. And every Monday, while I'm with you on Tornado Talk, the rest of the team is meeting, and we're doing Mentor Monday. And what we're covering are our keys to success for Brevard College football. So there'll be one topic that's covered, and then one coach will discuss that topic and how it applies to their lives in general and how you can associate it with football. So that's our Mentoring Monday, and then we also spill over and sometimes do it on Wisdom Wednesday. Well, what I did was I had each of those coaches that gave those speeches all across a line. They would just step up. One would say leadership and then step back. One would say responsibility, step back. One would say accountability, step back. So we went through the whole group. And then I reminded those guys as to where they had heard those words before, that they were the Wisdom Wednesday and the Mentor Monday, and that I thanked them for incorporating that into their daily lives. And so some of the things that we're able to accomplish this year, and I gave them specific examples that they knew from being a part of the team. When we discussed about being able to keep their toes behind the white line during the national anthem, that was very important to me to line up perfectly. And to do the same when we were in on Fridays for the mock game, I needed to know where their level of concentration was prior to the game, so if any adjustments needed to be made, I could do it about their focus for the game. So I wanted silence during those 18 minutes. Well, they were able to keep silent. And then, so those were some of the things. Then we had the bus ride to Greensboro. That was the only day trip that early, 7:15. And so that means on a Friday night I have kids that need to go to bed at 9 o'clock. Good luck. I didn't have one player late for that bus, not one. And that is remarkable growth from where I was in 2017. So it was all of those keys to success that allowed them. Now, those are just 3 examples. I mean, I can give you 1,000 more. But those are just 3 examples to show you. So I reminded them of that. And then I told them, you have now earned the right to get what it is that you truly want, which is an invitation to the bowl game. And we have been granted that. But it was still silent because why was I not showing any enthusiasm? So, in this day and age, you can't keep a secret from anybody.
Sure.
So, with all the social media. So there was obviously no way I could prevent them from knowing that we were invited. So I took a little different route. And then I started to tell the players that, okay, even though they did reach that, and I sincerely appreciated their effort in doing so, I, as the head coach, truly have to take into consideration what is best for this program and the future of BC football and where to go. And I told them, I just didn't think that going to a bowl game would have as profound effect on the future of the program as getting that extra time in spring, because now that we're taking a week here, we actually lose a week in spring, so we won't be able to practice during a week in spring. Just saying how much we needed that to focus on the future and the season. And I had them. I did have them, because I saw some faces in there that just all gone. It was like ghosts. And then I said, oh, heck no, we're going to bowling. And then music dropped. I had Coach Easter back there as my DJ, and he played the music that the kids like to listen to in the locker room pre and post game. Put that on. Everybody starts dancing around and got all excited. And then for the next probably 15 to 20 minutes, it was nothing but hugs. Everybody went around and literally hugged one another. Every single person hugged the other person in the room, and it was just an incredible feeling. And I want these guys to savor it. I mean, this is literally a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I was fortunate enough to have been on a bowl team when I was at Duke. So I got one. That's it. And that happened on January 1st, 1995, and I remember it to this day. I remember everything about the trip, of being there, the game. We still talk about it to this day, my friends from the team. Everett Lindsay bowl game. I mean, if you've been to a bowl game, it is an experience that you truly will never forget, regardless of the outcome of the game. It is just such an incredible deal for these kids.
Yeah, you can't take it for granted. And, Coach, even though it's November, that was a very effective April Fool's type joke there. You played on the team, but a great moment there at the Porter Center. Fans want to check out BC Tornado social media. You can, see some of that action behind the curtain. Well, Coach, speaking of November, it's been a unforgettable November for the Tornadoes. Tornadoes currently riding a 4-game win streak. And in the month of November, capped off by this Greensboro game this past weekend, the Tornadoes have not allowed a touchdown. It's even starting to become viral, this no touchdown November mentality. Can we start there, the performance of this defense time and time again?
Well, it really matters not the opponent, because they're going to play their best football at all times. And, you hear phrases like clicking on all cylinders. Typically that goes toward an offense. And really that's the way the defense is performing. I mean, everyone in the right place at the right time, doing what they're asked to do. If any error is made anywhere, it's covered by the next man. And to see this unfold has just been wonderful. I mean, 11.7 points per game for the season, I believe. That, you should have 7 wins when you have that kind of performance on defense. And really proud of Luke Jakes and what he's been able to do. He's a first-time coordinator. So, in his first go-around, not too shabby, the numbers his defense is putting up. And, he's been a part of the staff. This is his 3rd year now. And the guys have just always really responded to him. And that's why I knew he was the right choice for the coordinator.
Yeah, the month of November, BC has outscored its opponents 73-15. And that Tornado defense, 3 straight games, 12 consecutive quarters without allowing a touchdown. And over those 3 games, there were 8 different quarters where it was 0 points for the opposition. So just tremendous numbers.
Right, and what's nice about it is that the players don't focus on we got to keep them out of the end zone. They just, on every single play, we just have to do what is asked of us and execute. And then guess what? They end up with no touchdowns. So the focus is in the right place for these kids, and that all comes from experience. And, we've talked about it before, especially on that back end. We had a lot of experience, and all of a sudden we're starting to plug and chug with some younger guys. But, they've been able to step up, and it's been fun to watch players be prepared so that when their number is called, the team doesn't miss a beat.
Yeah, you mentioned that back end school record 19 interceptions, 5 interceptions here in the month of November, and newcomers like Jacques Pledger and Rick Tate just being sensational back there. The offense had an effective day on Saturday as well. Big numbers on the rushing side of things. A offensive rookie of the week award goes to Gerald Hines. Can you talk about the offense's performance at Greensboro?
Yeah, we were very effective in the run game, and it was with various backs. And, we have guys that can do a lot of great things in the run game from the running back position. but we also did it with a mix of personnel groupings and formations. So meaning sometimes we had 2 lead blockers, sometimes we had guys going one way and we're really running the ball the other way. Sometimes we incorporated the quarterback into the mix. So there were a lot of different ways that we were attacking the defense. And what's so nice about all these running backs is they're all just a little bit different. So you hand the ball off to Aaron Bennett at our own 10. He went 90 yards for a touchdown because he's got that kind of speed. Now, when these calls are subjective, they haven't really gone our way a whole lot this year, so that one happened to get called back, but he ended up getting 2 before the game was out. And then we have guys that are more power runners like Hines, and he was really grinding out some yards and able to get in the end zone, and Jamie Turner scored, and Yoder, he's running the ball, DJ Taylor. So, I mean, we just kept cycling them through. Then we even ran the ball with 2 of our wide receivers. So we got a huge first down from Brandon Norris, another big run from Jamariel Parks, and then, of course, Dalton had a nice day running as well. So when you think about all of the people that were involved in the run game, you can see why we were so effective.
And another big day on special teams as well. Special Teams Player of the Week award goes to Brandon Norris. He busts a 57-yard punt return touchdown to give the Brevard its 6th touchdown of the afternoon. Really kind of put the icing on the top of the cake there.
Right, and that was great to see him. You know, he had been battling with an injury and came back and really had an excellent game catching the football. Even on the first play of the game, and broke some nice tackles. I told you about the big first down run, so he was contributing in some other ways prior to that special teams. And then, you know, we have such a great kickoff returner in Jamariel Parks, and, you know, that ball travels a long distance. So when Parks has the ball, there's a lot of yardage between Parks and the first defender. So it gives the guy time to gain some speed, see his block, set him up, and do all that sort of thing. Well, Brandon Norris as a punt returner, first of all, he's fearless. It doesn't matter how many guys are screaming down on the field at him. And then when you're punt returning, the opponent is in your face immediately. That you don't have that kind of room when a ball is punted. So first you have to have a real stud back there that is fielding that ball, that has no fear of people flying at him. And then to be able to make people miss, and then get into your blocks and see where they are and get hauling, because you got to be moving on that. And that's what he did, and he was you could see it. I could tell by his body language that he was determined to get in the end zone, and nothing was going to prevent him from doing so. And, you know, the scheme we had set up with the return and guys getting in front of the players they were assigned to block all allowed Brandon Norris to get into the end zone.
Well, it all added up to a 42-3 victory for the Tornadoes over Greensboro College. Tornadoes end the regular season 7-2 overall, 5-2 in the USA South, tying the most wins in school history, best regular season winning percentage in school history, most conference wins in school history. You know, the best and the most and the first keep on rolling off the tongue here in 2019. Now the team are rewarded with a trip to a bowl game. Going to head up to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and take on Carnegie Mellon. Before we get into that matchup, Coach, can you talk a little bit about how this week is going to unfold heading up to Pittsburgh?
Well, as a coach, you're always in preparation mode. So, yes, we were preparing as if we were going to go to a bowl, whether we were or not. Problem is, at least in the National Football League, when you're seeing if you're going to go to the playoffs or not, it's kind of limited to know who your opponent probably will be. Well, this was just more wide open, so you couldn't really prep with an opponent. And we didn't know a location, so you can't prep with hotels and buses. I mean, you really couldn't do much. So that's why as soon as that announcement came, talk about the day turning into a whirlwind. Anybody that's out there that has texted me or called me, and I have not returned the call or text, I sincerely apologize, but it's been that kind of day where we've had to try to get everything set up. So today, after that meeting at 4 o'clock, we went out and did our normal Monday afternoon practice. So we had a practice just like it were any other Monday, nothing different. The only thing that we changed is tonight we're not doing our Mentor Monday because the coaches need a game plan. Normally we've already done that on Sunday and half the day Monday. So now we had to forego the Mentor Monday, and the kids understood, so in order to get this. And so the kids are going to watch some film on their own to get a general idea. And then we'll game plan tonight and tomorrow, and then tomorrow at 3 o'clock we'll actually distribute the game plan for all 3 phases of the game. practice on Tuesday, practice on Wednesday. So Tuesday and Wednesday, that'll look no different than any other week. Where it changes will be Thursday because we have a lengthy drive to get up to Western PA. So we're going to leave on Thursday to go up there, and we'll have to practice on Thursday afternoon at a different site. We'll have to practice Friday in Pittsburgh, and then on Saturday at 1 o'clock, coaches agreed to do a 1 o'clock game. Typically they're set for noon in the ECAC, but this will allow the players to get a little bit extra sleep and be prepped for a 1 o'clock game on Saturday.
And Coach, you mentioned going to a bowl game yourself as a player, and throughout the coaching staff, there's all sorts of experience in these postseason situations. Hearkening back on some of that, what's the key for this team and you all as coaches as far as the message you're going to give them, staying focused to get the W up there?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, these guys have talked about it being dub season, meaning W's, meaning wins. So if that's truly what it is, we have to approach this game like every other one that we've had. So we're not practicing just to practice and show up at a game. We want to win the game, because that's the difficulty with some of these teams deciding if they even want to be a part of any type of postseason play, because you're riding such a high. You're talking about a 4-game win streak and there's no touchdown November and all these things. Well, imagine if the season did end there and we knew we had no chance of going to a bowl game, what a high you take into the off season. So now you're going to go to a bowl game. All right, what are you going to do with it? So I told these guys to make sure you take the same approach that got you to where you are. Why would all of a sudden you do something differently? So that's why we did what we did. So the only reason we changed the Mentor Monday was because of the timing. I mean, we had no choice. But the practice schedule is going to be laid out the same. And they just need to know that when they get to Pittsburgh, it's still the same. We call it a business trip. I mean, we're not there to just fool around and be silly. Now we are going to incorporate some things for them to enjoy it. I want it to be enjoyed, but it would be outside of the hours that we would be practicing and things of that nature anyway. So, but certainly, I mean, I remember every step of the way during my time down in Tampa was where I was for that bowl game, and but the memories that get created with your teammates that all experience something like this, it's just, I mean, there's not enough money in the world to be able to pay to get something like that. You can only get it by earning it the hard way, which is through grit and just perseverance and all the things that they've done this year. And I couldn't be more proud of these guys, and what a great way to finish out the season.
Well, Coach, on behalf of the Brevard College community, congratulations. Just a tremendous accomplishment for this year's team. And maybe we can leave it at that. If there's a final message you want to, perhaps give back to that community and our spectacular fan base who's been, really following us closely all season long.
Right. Well, I mean, I just want everybody to understand that we as a coaching staff know that this would never have been possible without all of the support. So everybody that is associated with Brevard College in any way does play a significant role in our success. And, sometime before this is all over, I'm going to go through them department by department. But you can't have players at the school if you don't have an admissions department. You got to have financial aid. You can't feed the kids without a cafeteria staff. You can't have a practice field without facilities and maintenance. I mean, I can go on and on and on about all of the people that are involved. My wife and kids and my mom and dad wouldn't be able to watch the game if it wasn't for your department. So, I mean, there's so many things that are involved in helping us win that it's really not just coaches evaluating film. We come up with a game plan. We hand it to the players. They practice it. They execute it. We win. It goes so much further than that. And like I said, some point I will go through step by step to let you know how tremendously grateful we are as a coaching staff for all of the support that allowed us to give these kids what they wanted and what they have earned, which is a bowl game.
Well said, Coach. Well, congratulations again. Good luck this week as you prepare for that trip up to Pittsburgh. And, we'll be following every step of the way. Thanks for joining the show, Coach.
I appreciate it. Thanks, Phil.
All right, that was head football coach Bill Kyatt helping further deliver the exciting news that was broken today. Brevard College heading to bowl game for the first time in school history. And it'll be an exciting weekend as the Tornadoes will travel to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania to play the host school Carnegie Mellon this Saturday. Game time's 1 p.m. in Pittsburgh as these next two guests settle into the Coach's Corner area here at Dugan's Pub. And great to have these two on the program as we'll continue to preview this bowl game. Dalton Cole,
Yes, sir.
Justin Parker, great to have you guys on the show.
Glad to be here.
All right, fellas. Well, before we get into what's going to happen the rest of this week,
Okay.
can we talk about what happened like a few hours ago? And Coach mentioned it a little bit. He gathered all you guys into the Porter Center at 4 p.m. and said, hey, there's an important announcement that has to be made. What went down there?
Well, I mean, as most have seen on the webpage, we all gathered there thinking, it was going to be a big announcement and, like, we're going to go. And he got through and broke it all down and gave us, like, several reasons. Made it seem legit that, like, we he had the right reasoning for us not to go. And for a moment, he had us all. But
Yeah.
I didn't think it was going to – I was so confused. I was like, why would you – okay. And then 30 seconds later, he changed it all. But for a second, it was
Thank goodness he changed it all, right?
Right.
Oh, yeah. Brandon sitting in the chair in there just had the look on his face of, oh God. And then as soon as Kai said that, he went, oh, okay, we're good.
Yeah.
Well, big week, obviously. But before we get into that, and you guys did a nice job of communicating what happened in that room that day. Can you sum up the emotions and sort of the feelings that you guys felt today? Just I would imagine the first word that comes to mind for me is joy. But I mean, you guys were celebrating all over campus.
Yeah, we were. It's just, it's good. It's nice to see when our hard work pays off like it did this season. And it's really nice to reap the rewards of it.
Dalton, you can't get it done without guys like Justin in that O-line in front of you. Can we start there, how these guys have performed this season?
Yeah. Big thing coming on with us all being like in our second season together, especially like with me, Nicholas Eubanks, him and Brandon Unanks. Those three coming in and Austin Reeves. Those four coming back and us knowing what they're thinking, like us being on the same page with each other and being able to communicate in plays, like where these guys are going, who they're getting, and what I need to look for. The communication factor played a huge role in, like, at the beginning of the season, we really struggled. We didn't know what we were thinking, but we kind of sat down as a whole offense and talked about it, and we had to figure out, how do we all work together rather than saying, hey, you guys get your blocks, I'll make the reads. Instead, we said, hey, who are you blocking so I know who to read? And, like, you think, like, you'd know that, but, like, it's just it doesn't really click until you, like, really touch base with it. And with all these guys being our second year together, I know what they're saying. Whenever they have their own lingo on the line, I know what they're saying now. Like, if they say certain calls, I know, like, okay, well, they're going here now, and I need to look for this. If that looks suspicious or that looks weird and they made that call, I can help them. If they can help me, all that good stuff.
Yeah, it's good to be able to synergize, know each other's habits, their tendencies, and how to help each other out.
Yeah, Justin, I saw you nodding your head through that whole deal. I think football fans realize, of course, the offensive line is important to a quarterback success, but vice versa matters as well.
Right.
Well, can we also talk, Dalton, while, I'm having you kind of shout out these other units, your wide receiving core.
Right.
You've got a lot of options every time you are in a passing situation. Can you talk about those guys and how they've performed?
So it's really nice. I mean, all throughout the year, we don't have one guy that really stands out. Like, there's no one that has an absurd amount of catches with a crazy amount of yards and a lot of touchdowns. All of our guys work together as one. It's a true they're the receiving core. They work together and everyone runs their routes, and they're where they're supposed to be when they're supposed to be there. And it's nice being with most of these guys. For my second year, it's also their second year. There's some guys in here that have been here 3-4 years, or like Ralph. Ralph's graduating, but with all of us being in our second year of college football and our second year together in the same offense, it's nice to, like, know see, because now they have to keep their eyes up, and they got to make reads while I make reads because their routes change based on certain coverages. And all those guys just knowing the offense and knowing what they got to run, and then me knowing that they know it, being able to trust that they know it and throw where they're going to be, helps a lot. You got a lot of trust with those guys.
Now, Justin, while we covered the passing game pretty well just right there with Dalton, I would like to talk about the running game a little bit. You guys had a big weekend running the ball, at
Yeah, we did.
Greensboro, and have had a lot of success all season long, not only with those running backs, adding up some yards, but also this guy on my left, getting it done with his legs. Can you talk about you guys run blocking and, as a unit, the effective rushing attack y'all have produced?
Yeah, it's to be able to run the ball is it's key to any game you need to win. And like when you hear them call a run play, you kind of feel a little pride in it because you're like, hey, they're putting it on us to be able to get the movement, to make the hole, to get the yardage, and it feels really good. And this guy, as you have seen, is pretty darn hard to tackle, breaking tackles left and right. And it's when you see that, you're just running right behind them like, come on. And it really is a good feeling.
Well, a big week of preparation this week with the trip to Pittsburgh and the bowl game versus Carnegie Mellon. Can you share with us a little bit what the coaches have told you thus far as what the key to this week is going to be?
With us leaving Thursday, we really kind of short notice if we're going to make it or not. Today was kind of a scramble. So tomorrow and Wednesday are going to be huge days for practice, because while we're traveling Thursday and Friday, they're getting 2 extra days of work in. So, these next 2 days and, of course, the 2 days on the road, film study and this practice is going to be a really big deal. We're going to have to hit it hard and be focused all through practice the next 2 days.
Yeah. And this is definitely a good opponent we're going to be going against. They got some guys on defense that we're definitely going to have to step up our game for.
Yeah, a team with a bunch of experience in these post-game situations, then they'll be playing on their home field. So, certainly a tall order, but I know the coaches and, the team is ready for this, and you guys are hard at work this week getting prepared. Now, you guys are both kind of local products in a sense,
Yeah.
Hendersonville, North Carolina, Candler, North Carolina, from this area. Most of y'all's games throughout the season are, within striking distance, in this southeast region. Now you're heading up to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and representing Brevard College and kind of this region down here. Can you guys talk about how cool that is, for you guys to kind of get a little further away, but representing Brevard College and Western North Carolina?
Yeah, it's cool because the farthest game we had away this year was in Georgia. And just being able to go somewhere that we haven't gone before, it's a cool experience to be able to go that far and be able to, like you said, play for Brevard College there.
Yeah, it's really a big pride thing. Now, we're the only team from the USA South that was bowl eligible right there. So, with us being the only team getting selected, not are we only just representing Brevard, but representing our conference and, putting out a good name for us, saying, hey, we're down here. We're kind of making noise for our conference. And then Brevard finally coming through and turn around with all these coaches from what we used to be to now. It's a big deal. It's a big pride thing. So I think this is going to be really exciting and really, really fun to do.
Yeah.
Cool. Nicely said, guys. Well, before I let you go, we mentioned your hometowns, but do want to give you the opportunity, as we head into this bowl game to say hello or give a shout-out or a thank you to anybody who may have helped you along the way. Dawn, we'll start with you.
All right, well, much of my family's probably watching right now, so I'll say hey to them. My dad's watching from Tennessee, and my family's all up from my sisters in Charlotte, my family and all of them in Florida and everything like that, so I'm sure they're watching, so that's nice to know I got them. Of course, my quarterback coach, who's helped me through it all, Coach Cruz, putting in the offense that really helped me install it and they're helping me understand it as he installs it. That's a huge deal, as I've really learned to play quarterback under him. Him being a first and second year coach, me being a first and second year true quarterback, it's been huge having him on my side, so thank him for that.
Yeah, Mom, Dad, love y'all. I see you out there, Michaela.
Very good. Well, NATO Nation runs deep. You're wearing the shirt, Justin. They're everywhere, and appreciate you guys joining the show this evening. congratulations on behalf of all of Brevard College, and you guys really have represented the college well this season. One more this weekend. Hopefully make some more history this weekend. Good luck up there in Pittsburgh. Thanks for joining the show.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
All right, Dalton Cole and Justin Parker coming off the big news this afternoon that the Tornadoes are heading to the first bowl game in school history, heading up to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania to take on Carnegie Mellon. That's a 1 p.m. start this Saturday. And while we covered the offensive side of the ball with those last two guests, two more veterans of Tornado Talk make their way into the Coach's Corner area here at Dugan's Pub as they get settled in. Joined now by Josh Romero and Wesley Ross. Thanks for joining the show, gentlemen.
Thanks for having us.
Yep.
Well, guys, we'll start with how I started with the last two. An exciting day on campus. The place just got electric beginning at about noon. Can we start there? You know, the ECAC announced this via Facebook, a Facebook Live announcement in the 12 o'clock hour. How'd you guys learn of the news or figure all that out?
Honestly, I was in class at noon, so I was here looking at my phone and also listening to my professor talk. I'm not even going to lie. And then we got out a little early, so I was walking to the CAF looking at my Facebook Live, and just we got selected, and the whole CAF, all the football players in there just went crazy, and it's just honestly a blessing to get selected. Honestly thought my football career was over this past Saturday, and just to have one more game, just honestly a blessing with my brothers on the team.
Yeah, I actually walked in the calf, and I had paused I had it streaming on my phone. I had paused it, and I guess I was 30 seconds behind, and the calf erupted, and I looked at my phone. I was like, oh, wait, it hasn't been selected yet. And everybody else will show me, oh, we got it. So it's a huge opportunity, and I think we're ready.
All right, so that was the noon hour around lunchtime, but then you guys gather up at 4 p.m. for a special team meeting. Can you guys describe what happened there?
Well, I was like one of the first ones there in the team meeting, and one of the coaches came up to me and was like, I'm sorry, we can't afford the trip, blah, 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 blah. Then our head coach, Coach Kayak, comes and introduces all the words of the season. And then scared me a little bit, saying he not going to accept the invite. So I honestly just got mad, picked up my bag, honestly, and just was going to stand up. And then he said he's just kidding. And I just, super relief.
Yeah, because those stakes are particularly high for a guy like Josh who's a senior, and that could have been the end of it all. Wesley, how about from your perspective?
Well, he had me there for a minute, but when he said it was for an extra week of spring, I knew he was bluffing. I knew he was gonna say we were going. If he had said something, we can't afford it, blah, 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 maybe I would have believed him. But I had a feeling that they were kind of trying to get us.
Well, once the dust settled and the news came out and the celebration really began in earnest, you guys got to work right away. Can you describe the next couple hours of this afternoon and what you guys were working on?
Well, we went out there on the turf and just ran around, getting mental reps and just getting prepared. And tomorrow and start a game plan, and we go from there.
Yeah, we had a good practice this afternoon. I think the level of focus this week is kind of taken to a new level. It's a huge game. Monday's kind of we get back in it. We've had our Sunday off. We stretched good, and we ran at the end of practice. And I think we've done that every week, and I think that's helped us win. So nothing changes,
Well, I do want to talk about what's been going on with your unit, the defense. Really some incredible numbers, haven't allowed a touchdown here in November, school record 19 interceptions. It just goes on and on, what defensive coordinator Luke Jakes and you guys as players have been able to pull off. What has been the key to you guys maintaining this sort of success on the defensive side of the ball?
Honestly, I feel it's just consistent. Ever since the first day of camp, new DC, Coach Jakes, he installed everything, and I felt like everybody in the defense buy in. We was all in, committed, and we always come on work, even if it's meetings, come with a notebook and pen, practice, no matter what it is, lifting. We always committed, and we believe what the coach got in store for us every weekend. That's the game plan, and just commit and keep working hard and never look back.
Yeah. It all starts with the coaches. I mean, Coach Jakes, he's done an unbelievable job this year. Coach Jaron, he's my position coach. Love him to death. He's an awesome guy. I mean, we all buy in, like Josh was saying. We believe in him, and we all get along, and we want to be there for each other, and we want to make those plays, and I think that's really the big difference.
Now, while we're focused, obviously, on this bowl game this week, Josh, I do want to, mention one more time to our audience, you were selected to go to the Division III Student Immersion Program at the NCAA Convention in Anaheim, California in January. You've been an outstanding member of SAC and certainly getting rewarded with that opportunity, along with Diana Loaiza of the women's lacrosse team. Can you tell folks a little bit what that opportunity is going to be all about for you?
The opportunity is, honestly, I want to say first, a blessing to get selected because only 40 people in the whole country get selected to go to that convention.
So to have two tornadoes going between you and Diana is pretty
out
cool.
Of 40, yeah, in the country. And it's just for a convention for future coaches, and we just go in there and look at precedents and coaches and just learn the game, and hopefully that helped me and I could bring some of that for the spring for the football team.
And Wesley, if we can let folks know a little bit about your pursuits, away from football as well. But have you selected a major, and what are your ambitions in terms of career eventually?
Yeah, I'm a Borg major, business and organizational leadership. And the past couple summers, I've interned at Tyson Foods, and it's been an awesome experience. So, I really like it. They've given me an awesome opportunity, and I love it every day I go to work. So
tremendous. Certainly get you ahead of a lot of folks, who are, just in college themselves with that kind of internship opportunity and setting you up for success in the future. Well, guys, we got some business to take care of for the rest of this week. Speaking of business, which is Carnegie Mellon on Saturday, a long road trip up to Pittsburgh, and a business trip mentality I know you guys have got this week. What are going to be the keys to getting the W versus Carnegie Mellon?
The key is, honestly, come back tomorrow ready for meetings, ready to practice, trust what the coach got game plan for us, and watch film on our own, and also get lifting in on Wednesday mornings and just being consistent. And it's a long road trip, but we also got to stay focused and know it's business trip, and we got to come back with a win.
Coach Jakes always says, do your job to us before every game. That's his big point he harps on. And, I mean, it's true. We've done it all year. We've done our job, maybe not against Methodist, but most everybody else, we've done our job. And I
know for at least 7 of the 9 games you did your job because you won
exactly,
7 of them.
Yeah. So as long as we can just come out, do our job, and keep playing consistent, like Josh said, keep getting after it, I think we'll be all right.
Very good. Well, I do always enjoy giving this opportunity. If there's anybody you want to say hello to who might be tuning in from your hometown, or someone who's helped you along the way, now that you guys head into a bowl, the floor is yours.
I just want to give a shout out to my dad. He's watching right now, and my family, everything he do, and also my friend Brandon Crawford, a senior on the football team. He's been here since day one, since 2017, and always there for me. He's like a brother to me. And shout out to Trench Mall, my D-line coach, Coach Easter, and the whole team and the coaching staff. It's been a great year, and I'm ready to get a win this week.
I just want to give a shout out. My grandparents and parents are watching, so thanks for watching. And again, the whole defense, my position group, D block, safeties, and Coach Jakes and Coach Jaron.
Well, very good, guys. Well, congratulations. You guys have electrified the Brevard College campus. Exciting time to be a Tornado, and you guys are going to, do a great job. I know it this week up at Carnegie Mellon. Congrats. You guys are heading to a bowl, but still some work ahead this week. Best of luck this week. Thanks for joining the show.
Yep, thanks for having us.
All right, Josh Romero and Wesley Ross, as we continue to celebrate the big news today, the Brevard College Tornadoes football team heading to a bowl game. Congratulations to them. 1 o'clock this Saturday in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The Tornadoes at the Scotty Whitelaw Bowl versus the host school Carnegie Mellon. Well, folks, hope to see you at the Boschmer Gymnasium tomorrow. That's Tuesday, when the Tornadoes women's and men's basketball team host a doubleheader versus Bob Jones. The women's team plays at 5:30, the men's team at 7:30. That's at the Boschmer Gymnasium on Tuesday. And as we talked with the coaches, Cypress Gorey and Brad Purley, along with Tyler Clark and Carson Beckett, do want to invite you to the NCCX North Carolina Grand Prix, the cyclocross event at Jackson Park in Hendersonville, North Carolina this weekend. That's Saturday and Sunday all day long. Head on out to Hendersonville, Jackson Park. A great opportunity to see these student athletes in action and check out the sport of cyclocross. And best of luck to head coach Bill Hyatt, the football coaching staff, and all those football student athletes who are heading up to Pittsburgh, where the Tornadoes will play in a bowl game at 1 p.m. at Gessling Stadium on the campus of Carnegie Mellon in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I want to thank our guests tonight, Coach Eldana, along with men's soccer student athletes Eric Lenhart and Jackson Riddle. Congrats on the men's soccer team, who also went to the ECAC championships in the sport of men's soccer. Cycling coaches Brad Purley and Cypress Gorey, along with Tyler Clark and Carson Beckett. Head football coach Bill Hyatt, and football student athletes Dawn Cole, Justin Parker, Josh Romero, and Wesley Ross. Be sure to follow all the latest news and updates surrounding Brevard College athletics on Twitter and Instagram at BC Tornadoes. Subscribe to Brevard College Tornadoes on YouTube. Follow Brevard College Tornadoes on SoundCloud, and like Brevard College Athletics on Facebook. Be sure to follow Brevard College, all one word, on Flickr for all the latest photos from all Brevard College athletics events. Want to thank our sponsors, Arby's, Jets Pizza, Holiday Inn Express, Hampton Inn, Ingles, Mission Sports Medicine, Comporium Pepsi, and the home of Tornado Talk, Dugan's Pub. And want to thank those behind the scenes who made tonight's show possible, Joseph Marvin, Mariana Rodriguez, and Jamarcus Walker. And thank you, NATO Nation, for tuning in for this edition of Tornado Talk. We will see you next Monday night right here at Dugan's Pub. Go Tornadoes.